Dan Brewington and his wife had 2 daughters. When Dan's wife filed for divorce, they decided to split their time with the children 50-50. But their divorce dragged on for over 2 years. After going through 2 lawyers and nearly running out of money, Dan decided to represent himself with a little informal advice from Bob Kelly.
Close to 3 years ago, he would stop in and ask me general questions, or if I could provide him with information. In Dan's case, he had equal parenting time with his wife. There was no problem, no allegations of abuse, no allegations of harm to the children in any way, shape, or form.
But Dan went through a custody evaluation.
The custody evaluation report was 29 pages. One of the tests that Dan had taken, he had 9 categories, and in 8 categories, he scored average or above. And when Dan asked why none of the good stuff was ever mentioned, he said that he was only paid to find the bad stuff. They accused him of being possibly paranoid, and paranoid people sometimes strike out.
Dan felt that he was being railroaded by the evaluator, so he started a blog site to express what he felt was an injustice. Dan soon found examples where the evaluator may have acted in biased or inconsistent ways. For example, Dan's evaluator recommended that a mother who had had sex with a 15-year-old boy and who served alcohol to minors in her home be granted more custody than was recommended for Dan.
Dan Brewington was the individual who got in, started digging, made a determination that this psychologist who was being appointed by judges in Indiana was not licensed to practice psychology in Indiana. So once Dan Brewington got that ball rolling, he was a marked man. The judge takes a look at the situation. What's the first recourse? He wants to avoid the publicity. Take down your blog.
There was a preliminary hearing in which the judge warned that Dan needed to take down his blog site if he wanted to see his little girls.
Just saying that is threatening. You know, I can't make you take it down because it's your First Amendment right. And so he's saying you either can have First Amendment rights or you can have your children, but unlike most people, you can't have both.
For that judge to say you won't get to see your children if you don't take that blog down is absolutely in violation of the First Amendment.
Dan felt that his First Amendment right to the freedom of speech enabled him to continue publishing his blog, so he didn't remove it. As a consequence, 2.5 months later, the judge completely rescinded Dan's right to see his girls. No visitation whatsoever.
I've had clients who have either had alcohol, drug problems, or whatever. They've all received visitation, even if it's supervised.